going on, my friends? I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table, and we are looking at Cycle 11 of A Game Not Travel, or my would-be game, Interstellar Frontiers. Alright? Yay! Well, anyhow, I went ahead and did the cycle's population growth. We added 85 people, and then I did my mineral mining roll for the planet, so those are out of the way. They're just kind of mundane mechanics that's boring for anybody who's not, invested in the actual items being, stockpiled. Excuse me a second. So we are starting out with the event, the planetary event roll. Jeez, get it labeled right. Planetary event roll, and we will roll to see which chart we are on, and there are 3 charts. So we are looking at an 82. Oh, there's 2 charts. 82 is chart 2. Oh, there's 3. That's right. Oh, chart 3. Jeez. I did I did it for a really long video just before this one for Operation Lancaster, and my voice is, is what it is. My voice is never good. It isn't all that great on a good day anyway, so stuttering and pronunciation issues aside. So I rolled an 83, and 83 is nothing. Yay! Nothing earth-shattering or snarky or snicky. So let's see. First, ship traffic roll. And that would be on page 51. See which chart we roll on. And 64. So we're on a guild traffic roll chart. Lots of guild traffic in this area space. Isn't that convenient? And okay, so we roll on here, and I get 31. Holy Pete. A cruise liner arrives. Yet another cruise liner. This is the way these rolls play out sometimes. So it says, don't forget to play your noble status modifier with a minimum class 6 hull. Lingers for the planet for 2 to 3 cycles. Oh, class 6 hull. Which would be quite smaller than the one that came in last cycle. Alright. And as we know from before, that these cruise liners can bring additional. They're going to buy stuff. Generally, they don't bring cargo to sell unless you get a special cargo roll. So they're going to disembark a certain amount of passengers. Among them are going to be tech specialists, and maybe the occasional personality, and which can be advantageous to my house, and especially in these early growing stages, and or could be a problem. I don't know. We won't know until we try. Alright, so the second ship traffic roll for the planet, and we'll see which chart it's on. 25, which is going to be on the standard chart, the first one, and we will roll again, and it's a 70. A lot of ship traffic in this area too. Merchant ship roll arrives. Roll hull class. Don't forget to apply your noble status modifier. 2 of the lots for seller. Much needed MR or MM for the house. Now that's nice, because that's all right. Merchant ship. Manufactured material, which is what MM stands for, or mineral resources, which is the MR. So, for example, I'm trying to get everything you need, all my accumulated materials needed to get my first build underway. Which, in this case, I want to build a housing concern, which will double the housing capability of my colony. Right now, they came with the single Tech 1 housing build, which can handle, excuse me, it's optimally set up for 10,000, and that's the amount of people I brought with me. And so it can support up to 15,000, but at 15,000 it becomes crowded. And from social perspectives, there's actually some negative modifiers there, which would affect my planetary growth, my population growth, and can cause me to be making rolls on the planetary satisfaction chart, which could cause, if it gets really south, could cause people to start rioting and doing other stupid crap. It also it stops the ability for like technicians and tech specialists to show up and arrive, because there's nowhere for them to be housed, and they're not going to sleep out in the weather. So to address, there's ways to address that, and they have advantages and disadvantages. The most, excuse me, all I said, and I want to be yawning, and that's just crap. I had plenty of sleep last night, and I've been up for a couple of hours. I've had breakfast, and I've already done 2 effing videos, for the love of God. It's just, once you start yawning, it just makes you want to not stop. Anyway, so that's a good thing. That's a great option, for a great thing for my colony. So looking at that, we then move on to the next thing and take a look at what we got going on here. So let me move this over here for a minute, get it out of my way. And of course, when I yawn, my nose, my sinuses start to run. Once again, excuse me. God. Alright, so just kind of go down the, try out the viscosity thing. Alright, so my silver hunter is over here mining on the swamp planet that's in my home system. I still have plenty of consumables on board, and I did bring my damn pencil out here, which I should have brought with me, and I don't want to run out there and get it, so I'll just write notes down here. Let's see, oxygen, not a whole lot going on here. Still got plenty of options for that, so boy, oh boy, I mean, geez, really adding on. Didn't do much in the way of mining this turn. Oh, really? Come on. I don't want to hear my dice bouncing and rolling. There we go. Because otherwise, you have a tendency when you throw dice, if you throw enough of it, to know that it can just flat drop and be the same thing that you rolled the first time, which is not really a roll in my opinion. It's just my personal opinion. So we move on to the Iron Hunter, and are we getting close to say 6, 19, 29, 32, 43, 54, 59, 65. It's still got plenty of room on there to go, and it's still got the supplies, so we're going to do another round of mining over here as well. Oxygen. Jesus, come on with those ones. RB. Now we're getting somewhere. Although it would have been better with the other one because I can sell that stuff. Lead. PB, which is a test 10. Organics. It's another plus 10. Oof. Alright, what did I say? It was 65, 75, 85, 94, 95. I'll leave my cap, the ship my cap out. 95. So, or B. Okay, so on this I had 95. The cargo bay on this mining ship was only 100 tons. So what I've rolled already, plus that what I had on here, I was at 95, and so I'm at B for boron, and then there were still 2 more items here I could roll for. I rolled a 7, so 5 of that would bring us to 100 tons. So obviously that's where we stop. I can't mine this full 7. There's nowhere for the ship to go. So hold is full. And so it jumps back to Fairwind, which is what it can do. So we've got a full cargo, and next cycle I will replenish the ship and unload the cargo into my exchange, which is what we want it to do. Right? And my, let's see, drop shell came back after losing my Xeno scouts, and is now fully fueled up again, but I'm not, I don't know. Alright, you know, I'm just going to send my scout, or excuse me, my drop shuttle back over to my moon, the Arctic moon, and have it do a search of the moon's surface. As we've already explored 25% of it, so we are going to it's on Fairwind's moon. Should probably come up with a name for that damn moon. And explore, which then brings the exploration up to 50%. And so we're going to explore the surface. Let's see what pops up on our Arctic world. Exploring planetary exploration, page 15. Maybe that's what that takes. See, I had a number of these tags on here, and then over the last week or so, my wonderful cat Frankie decided to chew on them and rip them to shreds. And she didn't get to the rest of them. She tried on this one, but she hadn't quite got it tore off. But she tore like 4 other ones off, which kind of cheesed me off. I don't know why she does that. Just her. She's the only one that likes to do it. So we are going to do 1, 2, or 3. We're going to see which chart we're going to roll on. And I rolled 16, so that's chart 1. And 38. So 38. Wildlife encountered. Right? Alright, so we know there are 50% of that moon, and there's some kind of fauna on that planet. And we need to do a research roll and stuff like that on that to figure it out, to be honest. But just for fun, let's see if I can find it. It says here, flora and fauna based movement modifiers. Let's go with that. Let's see what pops up on that channel. Right, so it's just for shits and giggles. We're just going to take a dive into that fauna. Ideally, you would have to send somebody there to actually do a reconnaissance of the fauna to explore it, kind of thing. So we will look at Descriptive characteristics. Designing flora and fauna. Envisioning animals and plant life of alien worlds can be a stretch of the imagination, and yet one more of the rewarding parts of the game. Flora and fauna can cover a wide range of biology environments. While it is easy to say that it is impossible to cover everything one might find on a new, unexplored world, our goals are but to showcase a few, to give color and flavor to our game worlds. Some of these flora and fauna might be merely backdrop visuals, while others can become important parts of the region's character and economy. The easiest way is to envision millions of varieties inhabiting Earth and altering them in some manner so that they become unusual or alien. It has become a proven fact of life that is very robust. Life is very robust and can thrive in the most extreme locations. Only in vacuums such as Terran's moon or deep space has humanity yet to discover life. Not impossible, as it might be dormant or so exotic that it lies outside of humanity's ability to currently comprehend. So we have descriptive characteristics. So we will roll randomly and see what will go down. We'll just go down this down the roll. So for a random characteristic, at least as I call it, 96 makes it some kind of vermin. Or something as we would define as a vermin. Yeah. And we're going to see what kind, because random fauna traits. Right? And then there's a sub-chapter or chart for how many limbs. So first we'll do this. 20 is feline vermin. Number of limbs. Limbs may include legs, arms, fins, wings, tentacles, heads, tails, etc. So 29. It has 4. Okay. Kind of what we want anyway. And then we have random flora classification, which we want that. So we'll go down here to size and concept. Consider the size dimension of your discovery, assuming of course the event didn't already give it to you. Size can be deceptive, which is why we look at the dimensions as well. An alligator is in large to huge categories, and yet can be also found as tiny, small, medium, depending on its breed and age. Can also be considered small since it lays close to the ground, yet due to its length and body mass, an adult alligator is quite large. Considering the size and mass, we are creating a set of numbers for an average adult of the species. So we will do size, and that is 70. So it's going to be medium size, which is, according to this, is somewhere between 1.6 and 1.9 meters, and somewhere between 46 and 100 kilograms. So let's see, 60 kilograms. Right. So medium is like large dogs, sheep, many bushes and plants, eagles, etc. So we have a medium-sized feline, which is a vermin. I have to give some thought on that. So skin, height, and natural armor. Scorpion's armored shell is quite durable when compared to something its own size, yet is all but worthless against the weight and power of a horse's hoof. What we are looking for is the amount of damage that flora and fauna can endure before cutting into their body parts or body points. Damage reduction, or DR, and armor points, AP. While some are work in different ways, damage reduction is the amount of damage something can shrug off without taking damage to its actual armor. Armor per AP is the actual amount of damage that must be done before reaching the softer, more vital body points beneath. A large animal or plant can have a low DR and still having considerable armor, or can have no armor yet have a hide or skin that resists damage. Another way of looking at damage reduction is that damage reduction DR renews itself after each combat round, while armor protection, or AP, takes time to repair or regrow after combat. Large plants and animals that have AP would see an increase. So we're going to take a look at this. Armor and damage reduction chart. And you get some pretty exotic, weird combinations too. So 87 is heavily armored. So this thing is heavily armored. So it has a high AP. So heavily armored is a AP of 2. Armor protection at 2. And DR is 10%? No. Medium and large do not change. So damage reduction is automatically DR 10%. Okay. And then we have a chart for our actual armor points. It says add the AP plus roll from armor points chart and multiply it by height. So 4 is 0.6. Okay, whatever. Exotic armor. It says some flora and fauna might have height or armor that exhibits unusual properties. Should only have one property, if any. A roll on the AP chart. See, so most of this this is why we would do a research. We would send a research team to research the flora, or in this case the fauna, and this is how we would get all all this knowledge. So I'm just doing this as an example, I kind of jumping the gun a little bit on it, but we'll go ahead and roll on this chart. And 11 means there's no exotic element to it. Natural attacks 73. Okay, so only attacks when attacked or threatened. So if you don't attack it, it's not going to attack you. Natural weapons and damage. This covers everything from thorns and claws to bites, following examples. So, blah blah blah. And special weapons. We'll go ahead and roll on this for fun. And I get a 50, so 50 is nothing special. It could spit or spew something such as fire, acid, electricity, sound waves, toxic gases, etc. Could project or release spikes, spines, or thorns that resist removal, emits or excretes a substance upon contact, is coated with a sticky substance, etc. So you've got a 75% or less chance of it having nothing really exotic. Then we have venom and poisons. About 1 in 10 flora and fauna have a poison or venom. Not all poisons are blah blah blah. So we will roll to see if this thing is poisonous or has venom. And 76. Oh yeah, so it has a poison. And so we have a venom chart for what kind of damage that would do if it injected you with venom. So we'll go and look at the poison chart. So this thing can poison you. Maybe that's what makes it a vermin shit. I don't know. Poison chart. And 45. Inflicts damage per strike. So if it bites you, it can inject poison into you and deliver an additional 0.76 to 1.0 damage. That's pretty heavy duty. Inflicts damage 0.76 to 1.0 per strike. Alright. Then we got foodstuffs, poison venoms versus genomes, locomotion. Well, we know it's got 4 limbs. 85. It can walk, run, or swim. Base movement. Tells us how fast this thing can be. 39 is a 1 hex per combat round. It's kind of slow. Well, now, if you think of it, it's a 1 hex per combat round, and so there are 6 seconds in a combat round. So for this thing's going to cover 10 hexes every minute. So it's still pretty slow. Primitive intelligence. Nature has some ways of evolving some flora and fauna to the point of seeming almost human. Many thingies view their pets as having personalities all their own, and many can be taught tricks or clever enough to make you think that they are smart as some people we know. Almost primitive in that gray area between clever pet and caveman level of smarts, a creature is almost on the verge of reason and intelligent development, but not quite there yet, evolutionary speaking. When thinking of clever plants, it can be a little harder to envision. A Venus flytrap reacts without thought, but what if it was clever enough to make sounds to draw in a prey? What if an independently mobile tree became smart enough to notice the changes in the seasons, enough so that it and its fellows migrate to more hospitable climes when the weather becomes too dry, too hot, or too cold? When designing your flora and fauna, you ask yourself, is this thing clever or smart? If you envision it as possibly being smarter than the average bear, then make the roll below. So, we're just going to head and roll and see what happens. And I rolled 33, and that's normal, so there's no extra. But it could be pet smart, clever, or caveman smart. Then we get to domestication. Many flora and fauna can be trained to be useful in some manner, be it cultivated or raised foodstuff, organic transport, guard animal, or pet. Domesticating something means to teach it to coexist with thingies and to respond to commands or to carry out tasks. This trait is far more common in fauna than flora than one would imagine, but not impossible. Domesticated flora and fauna may carry equal blah blah blah. So we will roll down here to see if this thing can be domesticated. And we get a 45. So yeah, it could be, yes, it could be can be domesticated. Still trying to puzzle myself out on that. I'll have to go back and read that section on the Berman thing, see exactly if that actually applied here or not. Flora and fauna ranking skills. Designing a base type of an average ranking for most flora fauna encountered will be tried or green. Advanced versions can be found but should be rare and on a case-by-case basis or through handling and training. Like any clever fauna or a few exotic flora, blah blah blah. So, they ain't exactly clever, so I don't know, but ranking has got more to do with skill sets. So you can look at how the animals work around us. How clever are they? Raccoons are pretty damn intelligent, even if they are stupid. So they can think, they can problem solve on a limited basis. So how experienced is this thing on average? 57 is tried. So an average adult's not going to be overly sophisticated, which means we don't have to worry about things like skills. Then we want to find out numbers of flora or fauna type encountered. On a random event, this is the usual amount of the flora or fauna encountered in the wild. However, it does not mean that you cannot encounter more or less, only that this is their most common habit of gathering. So we will go down here to 1 and roll a chant for flora. Fauna. So 64. 64 is a pack, small herd or flock. Ideally 1d10 plus 5. Jeez. That might be why the damn thing can be considered vermin. So damn many of them that they just become a nuisance. Alright. And then we get into things like names and behaviors, camouflage and blending in. Does this thing have camouflage abilities? 22 is none. Aquatic traits, avian traits, bovine traits, canine traits, equine traits, feline traits. So, relating to or pertaining to the characteristic of cats, any variants, life body, round-headed fissipod mammals, many of them with tractable claws. Feline mammal usually having thick soft fur, includes domestic cats, lions, tigers, typically agile critters with feline traits that can be purposely slow, deliberate, quiet, and stealthy. Stalkers and beasts that hunt by stealth and speed. Most felines have a light to thick body fur with a wide range of colors. Most, but not all, have tails for balance and retractable claws. Tails are flexible. Family fidelity. Cats, wildcats, lions, leopards, cheetahs, saber-toothed tigers. So, just giving an overview, names and behaviors. Traits. There you go. So that's basically how it comes down to when you run into flora and fauna. And I would have done, ideally we would go and do it research and do it from a research angle, because that's kind of how it goes. So let's move on 2. Alright, so mined and explored that planet. Now it's at 50%. And sloop. So I was exploring the system and checking out locations. So I think what I'm going to do with my scout and my sloop this time around, a ship encountered. So, okay, the sloop really needs to go back and get refueled. Well, it has to go back and get refueled. It's going to run out of gas. So that's all it can do is come back to Fairwind and get restocked. Solves that problem, or that one. Now we get to go look at my 2 scout ships. Alright. So the scout ship is currently around that other swamp planet we found. Has plenty of supplies on board, so we will see the scout Kamali, however you want to pronounce it. And I'm going to go ahead once again and explore the planet, which will bring it to 10% exploration. And we'll go and dip into the charts, which I think is page 15. Yeah, exploration of planets. So which chart are we on? 44. We're going to go to chart 2 and 31. 31, where you at? Of course. Oh, flora discovered. But this one has a caveat on it. It says a rare exotic hardwood if appropriate for the planet. So we know a little bit about it. Developing worlds, designing fauna and flora chapters, etc. So that's another item we would have to come in and we have to do research on. But a rare and exotic hardwood, which by itself, just the fact of what it is, makes it a item that could be exploited and exported for a profit. We make money off the damn thing. Or we can find some creative, colorful use for it. So, where the hell is my other scout ship at? Where are you at, you booger? Where are you at? Oh, yeah. Sankura. So what I wanted to do with that one? Now I'm going to bring it back to my home system, and I'm going to have it further explore that other swamp. I have a lot of swamp planets, I'm starting to realize. The one that has a 1950s era industrial age civilization on a planet. We've already explored the planet at 30%. I have yet to name this damn planet too, which I probably should do. The Jan Kuro. Do planetary exploration roll. And which would then bring the planet to 40%. And 96, which would be the third chart in this category. So chart 3 and 47. Carnivorous flora fauna found. Oh, that's nice. Okay, Well, that's that for that pretty much. I mean, there wasn't. I didn't go look into a new solar system. I'm trying to flesh out some of these places that I already have so I can get some more information on them. We want to take a gander at the back of this sheet because I did some. I did all my my accounting and stuff for the end of cycle 10 already. So at the end of the day, with the ships that came in the system and the stuff I'd already mined, I showed a positive total of my exchange was 468.3 credits, and a negative total of 304.3 credits. So I had a net gain of 164 credits, which puts me, raises me up from where it was 2 cycles ago, which is a good thing. I also have one more cycle of research time to go. So at the beginning of cycle 12, my research facility will have researched the blueprints for automatic rifles, or Tech 2 item, which then I will then put into production and start researching something else. The Factory A is still producing ballistic rifles, which at this current time they have produced 3 tons worth, which would be 75 rifles. So I will probably change that over to automatic rifles or something else at the beginning of the next cycle. Both of my research labs are one is researching fauna on Fairwind, and the gargantuan fauna on Fairwind. So I will be doing research on those to at the beginning of the next cycle. I will figure out what those are and then devote my R&D labs to something else. Ideally, I probably will be changing the production from BR to Howie suits. So next cycle I will start producing, I'll probably go ahead and do that this cycle, and because so next cycle I will have some hazardous biosuits that I can then get and send some people back to that place where my Xeno scouts croaked, and get some samples of the atmosphere and the planet. Just go do some research there and get the materials to bring back to my R&D lab to research and figure out what caused my Xeno scouts to croak, and to recover the bodies if they're recoverable, and go from there. And hopefully I will have majority of the material needed for my housing concern to begin construction and get that going underway. I've also set up the dojo, which I did a video, and you should see that video before this one's posted, for my Ministry of Intelligence to start training. So my shadow sensei is going to be training 1 agent and 1 squad for 5 cycles, starting in cycle 10. So at the end of cycle 15, then I will have a trained special 007, a trained agent, and a trained squad, and then I will then put 6 more people into this training program with this fellow or this lady, and to benefit from them. So that's kind of how that stuff's going to play out. Alright, so at the end of the day, that's kind of where we went with that, and the video took a little less time than I expected. It is what it is. Hey, you guys have yourself a great weekend. Going on, my friends, this is Rick, and hey, if you like the channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, tell your buddies, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell anybody else that's in the gaming industry or gaming fandom that says, hey, this is a channel worth checking out.